Hey everyone, this is JRDanMML. This video is going to be not a challenge video, surprise surprise, but let's just get into it. I also recorded it, but I didn't like what I made, so that was pretty much plus 30 minutes wasted. But anyway, let's get into it. This first one might be rough because it's going to be the first time doing it, but I'm going to call it my sit down and review series. And I'm going to start out with Kirie, but let me just explain really quickly so that subsequent I'll probably make this quicker, but I'll explain right now. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to just sit down and review the character. I don't really give them the score. I'm just going to say what I like about the character and if they're good or not in comparison. And just look at the characters from mainly a gameplay standpoint, trying to look at them objectively. And objectively, but I'm using my experience and knowledge, so kind of, I guess you can still call it bias, but like I said, I'm gonna try to go through it, and I'm gonna treat it as if I'm just sitting down with someone and trying to just talk about it. It's not really planned at all. I don't have a script, although like I said, I did record it once, and yeah, so I'm pretty much gonna try to repeat what I did. I almost did quick play again, but yeah, for this first one's gonna be about Kirie, and just right off the bat, Kirie is a bit of an odd one. I say that because Kirie has mainly two ways that you can play her based on her kit. Well, I mean, she's designed to be played... So let's just do a non-eye so that we don't interrupt with what I'm doing. Let me just turn things on a bit, but let me talk about it while I'm doing it. Yeah, Kirie's in an odd spot because if you just look at her kit and you know what she does, then she's the one who casts spells. She's basically supposed to be a magician. Anyone who likes magician builds, Kirie is going to be for you. However, how most people play her if they don't know how to use spells really much is just basically try to brute force and almost act like she's any other character because any other character can use spells as well. Every other character can use spells. The difference is that every character has their base stats, their passive, quote-unquote, or what they come with, and then their perks. So Kirie starts off with one spell, which in itself is RNG. You either get a really, really good spell. Cauterize is one of the good spells. It's free stamina healing. Or you get a spell that's very situational and, in my opinion, more useless because they're so situational that you'll never use them. But at minimum, you can forget the spell for +1 reason. So there's that. And then Kirie starts off with 5 strength, 7 dexterity, 7 perception, 8 knowledge, 6 charisma. So if you decide to go for a knowledge-based weapon, yeah, you can, but the thing about stats is I don't really look at them more for what weapons you can use. I look at them more for what's in the lighthouse. And if you know the lighthouse strats, I'll talk about it probably in another video, but that's that. But as for the most part, stats don't really affect the way I'm going to play them. And the way Kirie could be played, yeah, like I said, it doesn't really have anything to do with her weapon. It's more whether or not you want to use spells, like I said, either through brute force, so you don't really try to learn a lot of spells, and you just use weapons to beat on enemies, or you use spells and you're basically rolling on RNG because the main way you can get spells, just grinding spells, is through the library for 5% Doom. Let me just do this here. So like I said, I'm going to do a soft run here just to see how I go. And if I survive, so be it. But this is more just to show off Kirie. I'm not going to get the emergency fund, just to say. Anywho, I'll get into it. Also, eels, cool. But yeah, library, if you go into here and learn it, like I said, I'm going to play her through the brute force way, I guess, or, you know, I should just play her through lives. So I'm going to actually, yeah, no, you know what? I'm going to play her through her the magician way. So basically what you do here is you go in and learn 3 spells up to the max. What happens is, which relates to Kirie, which is why it's important. So if you have 4 spells, or the max amount of spells, if you learn another spell, what happens is that you don't learn the spell, and then you take 1 reason damage. So you kind of always want to hold on to 1 less than the number of spells. That way you can forget spells if you need to. And like I said, I consider myself, a lot of people say, so this is kind of a spell review as well, but it's important because, you know, Kirie is a magician herself. So, not in lore, I'm saying in terms of her gameplay. So, some people like Ath-Yolazsth Flame. I personally don't, because you're trading 5 resources for 7 damage. If the damage allows you to kill something quicker, then yeah, you can trade it off. And I think I might be wrong in that aspect, but I personally don't like to use Ath-Yolazsth Flame. But it's high damage. 7 is a high number. shiny, and it's a lot of damage. So if it allows you to kill something and you're going to take more reason, doom, and or stamina, then yeah, there's that. Otherwise, and the thing about Library 2, if you do a spell-based run, is that with Kirie, is that you can learn the same spell from the library, or just from learning spells in general. So if you learn 2/3 Eyes, and until the end of the mystery, so I don't really want to do this, because this, in my opinion, is one of the most useless spells. Maybe there's a use for it, but I've almost never used it, because it's until the end of the mystery, and I know it would be too overpowered if it's not until the end, but, you know, I'm just going to do that right now, just in case I learn a spell, otherwise I'm just taking damage. So there's that. But yeah, so I'll also go through Kirie's perks while I'm doing this. So let me just go through the first one right now. Arcane Grasp. If you're, and let's go through general knowledge first. If you do quick play, sometimes you'll get, or if you customize your play, you can set the option where you can do all perks. So that's why I kind of weigh character perks less important to the character. But normally, I understand, I still weigh it a bunch, because most people, when they play this game normally, they're just going to have character-specific perks only, which is why it's important to talk about the character and their perks related to them. So, onto the perks. Arcane Grasp, you get 2+ spell slots. So instead of 4, you can now hold on to up to 6 spells at once, which is nice. If you're playing a spell-based run. If you're not, then you're probably not going to be maxing it out, so you don't really get any value from it. I don't have a weapon here, but that's fine. Yeah, that's Arcane Grasp. But if you do the brute force Kirie, then you're not really going to see the value of Arcane Grasp. If you are a magician, if you are going to play like a magician or learn a lot of spells, then it is useful. But like I said, at that point, still you're still relying on the fact that the spells you get are going to be very good. And like I said, there's a handful of spells, probably enough to fill up to 5 or 6. I can think of definitely 5 or 6 spells, but yeah, that's when Arcane Grasp would be useful. So there's that. Otherwise, her next spell one of her other perks is Ghost Connection, which would complement quite nicely if you have Arcane Grasp. So what Ghost Connection does is every time you complete a mystery and you hit that button to complete the mystery, you learn a spell, a random spell. So like I said, it still falls under the could be really good, could be really bad, because you're learning a random spell. The spell could be really good, or it could be really bad, or in terms of how usable it is. So there's Ghost Connection. But as it relates to all of her perks, I would put Ghost Connection as one of her best perks, because like I said, it's a free spell every mystery. You might as well learn it, right? If the other perks aren't going to do anything for you. Like I said, you always have to keep in mind, if you're in a run where all perks are available, maybe Ghost Connection isn't as useful. So there's that. And that's the last I should say about all perks. So there's that. Let's see, her third perk, let's see which one I should talk about next. Let's talk about Second Sight. Additional damage to ghost and eldritch enemies. When I first recorded, I said that this perk wasn't as good as I thought, but when I thought about it, I went back at it on the same recording. So basically, additional damage, it's basically +1 damage to ghosts and eldritch enemies. Ghosts not so much, because there are only really 4 ghost encounters, if I'm off the top of my head, if I'm right. And they are, 2 of them you have to purposely run into, unless you just don't know what choices bring you to them. But there are only 2 that you can encounter, and one of them is only really threatening. Once you know enough of the game, one of the ghosts is actually not threatening at all. So really, these surprise, surprise, I'm going into apartments right now. Apartments, it has the only ghost that you're going to run into randomly. Hey, this is Jared and MML. I just want to do a quick note to myself in post-edit. There are actually 5 ghost encounters, and there are 3 that you meet randomly. What I actually wanted to say that I bumblefished twice, I even edited this again, is that there are 3 ghost encounters you can run into randomly. The Rumu Ghost, the Twisted Corpse, and the Burning Man. In the mansion, apartments, and the seaside, respectively. However, what I wanted to say that the Burning Man is not dangerous to you because until you attack the Burning Man or try to go for a ritual attempt, then he will not attack. Otherwise, there's the Twisted Corpse in the apartment and the Rumu Ghost that you can meet randomly in the mansion. So there's that. Whoops! Yeah, Second Sight sees less value, but since it does additional damage to Eldritch enemies as well, which can be good, and I'll say so in a minute, then yeah, I see more value in it. And by that, I mean a lot of bosses in this game. Granted, some you can just avoid in general. I'm dying to reason. I'm thinking, yeah, let's go. A lot of one boss in particular, and two if you decide to fight that. Two if you get both of them. That are Eldritch enemies, so doing bonus damage to them is really, really valuable. Also, enemies that you encounter could be Eldritch enemies as well, which is, like I said, why it can be much more valuable. Am I in Spider God? Can I run from this? I'm gonna run from this. Yeah, so that's why Second Sight is an okay perk in my book. I'm gonna put an okay perk in my book. Kirie's last perk that I'll talk about, and I think, in my opinion, is second, if not tied with Ghost Connection, is Self-Therapy. Forgetting spells recovers extra reason, and that's forgetting a spell, just vanilla. It gets you, I'll do it right now, gets you +1 reason. I should probably saved it, but I just did it just to do it. Like I said, this is a soft one, it doesn't really matter, but if I had Self-Therapy learned, then I would heal 2 reasons, so it's basically +1 reason on top. So, like I said, Arcane Grasp, I might as well take it. I'm not going to reroll. And then I will keep going. But yeah, like I said, no bath either. Nice. But yeah, Second Sight, or Self-Therapy, really good perk to get if there are no other perks. But it's also, I would take it over a lot of perks. Obviously, there are some categories of perks that I will take if it's an all-perk run. Otherwise, yeah, I'll take Self-Therapy and Ghost Connection right next to Arcane Grasp, and then Second Sight. Yeah, it's bonus damage, but if I don't have... It depends on the mysteries as well. If I don't have the mysteries, then I just skip it anyway. So, yep, those are all 4 Kirie's perks. They're okay, but as compared to other perks that we'll talk about in future videos, some of them kind of lose out. Self-Therapy, like I said, is a good recovery, and it's just all situational at that point. So there's that. Clap, bow, clap, clap. But as it relates to Kirie, yeah, if you play her as a magician, you'll be learning a lot of spells. I said I'll play her as a magician. I proceed to go to a quest where I cannot, or a mystery where I cannot learn spells unless I get to an event. But yeah, it's at that point, like I said, you either brute force and you try not to learn any spells at all, which means Arcane Grasp is useless because, well, you're not going to learn enough spells to reach either 5 or 6. Self-Therapy is less useful because, like I said, you're not learning spells, so you're not forgetting spells to recover more reason. You might learn Second Sight because that would be more useful on a brute force one because you want to do more damage. And then there's Ghost Connection, but if you don't roll, you might do it on a brute force anyway, but nice. Failed that one. Nice 8 knowledge, Kirie. And that's also another reason why I rate base stats lower, because you're at the mercy of RNG anyway. But anyway, back onto the perks. Yeah, if you learn Ghost Connection, that's kind of an and you don't know, but in the end, you're at the mercy of RNG, so there's that. We're not gonna equip that. Yeah, so let's go. But yeah, those are her perks, and if you are using a spell-based run, then basically you want to learn Kirie's perks. But like I said, you're still at the mercy of RNG. And so learning them, it can get kind of iffy. Also, learning from the library is +3 doom per spell that you try to learn. So if you don't learn any spells, you're now at a point where you're like, well, do I want to keep trying to learn spells? Otherwise, yeah, you're not going to survive. Anywho, we're gonna take the free out here. But yeah, to get onto it for the rest of this video, also I just learned one of the best spells in the game, in my opinion, and in most people, and on the average opinion, I would believe. Maybe I'm wrong, but basically Memory Extract, spend 10 experience for +2 reason. So basically pseudo infinite reason heal, so I shouldn't need to worry about reason all, unless you're the type that cares about their level, but I would argue to do that. But like I said, for the rest of this review, and it's important because it also ties into Kirie, because she is the spell master in terms of how she's designed. Yeah, just to go over some spells, like I said, Memory Extract is one of the best spells you can learn, in my opinion. Because, like I said, every 10 experience you have, so I basically have +15 reason on me, unless an enemy just kills me and I make a mistake. But, yeah, it's that. If it's not fixed right now, then if it's not going to be fixed in 0.9.15, then Flesh Regrowth is the Memory Extract version right now, where basically, okay, so just to prove it now, okay, so yeah, you can still cast that and you won't lose any experience, so there's that. Cauterize, as I said, is one of the best spells as well, because it's free stamina heal for no cost, basically, unless you're on I, which increases Doom. There's that. But Flesh Regrowth, it's supposed to remove max 3 stamina, or max 2 stamina. So if I'm at 13 and I use Flesh Regrowth, then I lose max 2 max stamina, but I gain +3 stamina. So it's supposed to be an emergency heal, but how it's actually working is basically, on average, it'll remove the max 2, but then you can just use an item and heal yourself back up over, so it's definitely not working in that regard. And this is partly because I'm a game dev myself, so I kind of like to think of things in terms of how they're supposed to be designed. So I think of it in 2 ways. In one way is still gonna mean you get infinite heals, but in that case, the cost would be that you have to get Flesh Regrowth. And what I mean by that is... well, Flesh Regrowth, if it's supposed to actually be designed so that you only ever lose max 2 max reason, just total, and you can just keep casting it over and over, well then that's... yeah, so like I said, your max stamina on a True Believer run would become... I should just save this. Would become 11, and then you just get infinite stamina heals, and I don't think that's how it's supposed to be designed, but I could be wrong, and if that's the case, then we just have a free heal. Obviously, like I said, it's bugged right now, and not even the max part is being applied, but we'll see how that's patched in. Otherwise, the intended way to for how it's supposed to be used is that every time you use it, just like every time you use it, you lose -2 max stamina. So if I use Flesh Regrowth, if I use Flesh Regrowth 3 times, then I lose max 6 stamina. So I would have a maximum of 7 stamina. But and that's how I assume it'll work. But like I said, it's not working right now, so it's literally the best way to heal stamina right now, bar none. Another spell of note that's okay is Void. What Void does is if you're in an event and you cast Void, then you get taken to either the Bleeding Desert event or the Boreal Expanse event instead. Akamanto's gonna do so much damage to me. But yeah, so why that's useful is if you're in an event, say it's an event that just does -2 reason damage because it does, then you could cast Void, and most people would, because you have a chance of proccing the Bleeding Desert, and if you're in the Bleeding Desert, then you have a chance to roll the Katana. And even then, some people might take the trade, because if you fail to get the Katana, what happens is you take -3 stamina, but I mean, you have a 50% chance to go to Bleeding Desert. If you don't, you go to Boreal Expanse, but even then, like, people would arguably reason that you're going to be running into a bad event anyway. So you cast Void. If you're in Boreal Expanse, you get Frostbite and whatever. You either succeed and get something, or take 30 experience, -3 stamina, or you just fail and you take an injury, and which is worse, but like I said, some people would argue that you're going to take the damage anyway. So you cast Void, and if you go to Bleeding Desert, the best option, I would say around 25% chance, if you're not ill-fated, that you have a chance to, you just have a chance to get Katana, the best weapon in the game. Period. So that's Void. Otherwise, actually, what do I want to do here? I can't equip the demon. Anywho, two other spells that you can learn. There are 2 instant kill spells in this game. One called Thread of Fate, and the other called I think it's I can't remember right now, but one of them basically is you heal, or you kill an enemy, you defeat any human enemy for a reason, I believe. Which is very good because one of the bosses in this game is a human, which nets you a free weapon if you defeat this boss, no matter how you defeat them. And if you defeat them with this spell, then you get a free one of the good weapons in the game. Granted, it's slow, but it's a free kill on a boss by any chance. The other insta kill spell is a spell that defeats any non-eldritch enemies. Now that's still, it's more useful than Thread of Fate in terms of well, it's not only human enemies, it's anything but non-eldritch. It's not useful in that, say, anything with this icon that's an eldritch enemy you can't defeat, and a lot of bosses in this game are eldritch enemies. So there's that. But still, are you gonna not take a free kill spell? I mean, yeah. So there's that. I hope I can't remember right now, but yeah. So like I said, those are the handful of spells that you could learn, and that's definitely like 5 or 6 spells. So if you do a spellbound run or a spell run where you just get a lot of spells, then yeah, that's you should be set. But like I said, you're still at the mercy of RNG at that point. So I should have rested before this, but like I said. That's how you'd play Kirie if you were forced to use Kirie's perks and whatnot. Otherwise, yeah, you have a choice to make. You have a choice to make. So let's just get through the rest of this run. But like I said, just to close out, as I'm getting near the end here. Ooh, that's gonna hurt. But so like I said, if I had Thread of Fate here, I would be able to kill Akamoto immediately. So Kirie is kind of, you could say she's meh. In my book, she's okay. I kind of used to say she's in the middle of meh and okay, but in the end, she's okay. She is a waifu, so I guess she has that. But yeah, it's still a little. Would I rather play Aiko? Sure. Would I rather have used cigarettes and stuff? Sure. Granted, I'm probably gonna die. I wasn't really paying attention, but I'm just more, like I said, I'm reviewing Kirie as a character. So there's that. Otherwise, like I said, she's okay if you get things in your favor. Like I said, spell-based. If you go a magician run, then really you're just trying to rely on RNG to get the good spells. If you don't get good spells, then you pretty much just wasted Doom, and you're just trying to figure out how can I use the spells I have left if I'm not just going to forget them. So she's okay in my book. Anywho, I'm going to die to Doom here if I cast that. Well, maybe, but 7, 25, yeah. So let's actually trade out a bunch of that into... okay. So yeah, that's my thing for Kirie. If she... I don't know if Pant Stas will change her in any way, but yeah, like I said, she's okay in my book. She's the average character, and she's the first character on the selection screen, which you can treat her as the main character. So like I said, she's not bad. It's just she's okay. She's okay in my book. So let's finish this run and we'll finish this review. Otherwise, I'll just end it here by saying, yeah, if you like this video, if you made it through this far, then I thank you for watching. Otherwise, yeah, that should be the end of this review. I plan to do the other characters in due time. But For now, this has been Kirie. I don't really plan to give them all a score. Like I said, I try to look at them more in terms of, well, what's efficient about them, what's not as efficient about them, what's okay, what's not okay, and there's that. So, and if not, then I'll just say right now, JRDN MML out. Otherwise, you want to see the end of this run? Let's see the end of this run. So, yeah, let's do this here. Let's just keep doing this here. This is -2 all, but I think that might be what I do the whole time. Otherwise, I'm running out of resources. So let's see here. I think I want to hold on to memory extract. I'm dying of the stamina though. Let's see here. Nope, I think I'm gonna die. I need to hit both of these, otherwise I'm in a lot of trouble. Desperation. Otherwise I should have dodged. No. Yeah. So here we go. And we get out, but I think we're gonna die to the, well, actually, let's wear this. We can wear this. Can't rest anyway, doesn't really matter. Took Bath away. Just to make sure. So yeah, like I said, if I had more Doom to work with for Kirie, I would have been able to rest at the lighthouse basically a bunch. So the 9% Doom I spent could have been instead 4 stamina for a reason, and I probably could have brute forced the lighthouse at this point. I didn't even check which ones I had. So let me see. I have flashlight actually, so that's okay. No, I do have the knowledge, so that's that. 3 reason, 3 stamina, mystery. But I should be okay on mystery, so actually, let's see. 3 stamina, 3 reason. Right. And then I have to worry about this one, these 3. So yeah, so I should be okay. I can even rest a couple. This should be more than enough, but let's just do that just to make sure. If I get the mystery wrong, I think I still survive. So there's that. And then I do have a memory extract, but like I said, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, I did survive, but that was kind of more just me. So you see what I mean? It was more just me trying to make the use of the things. Obviously, I got that wrong, but at the end of this, I should be able to get out. So like I said, I wasn't worried. But yeah, that was more me just strategizing around the spells that I had. Granted, I did get memory extracts, so it did work out. Playing a magician-based build did help me. So like I said, Kirie is okay. If things work out in her favor, it worked out. But I could have easily have not gotten any spells that helped me, and I would have just died to Akamanto there. Which means I would have needed another strategy that has nothing to do with how Kirie and using spells. So, you know, that's that. But anyway, like I said, if you made it to the end of this video watching this run, then I thank you for watching. I do plan to make more. I'll repeat again, I do plan to make more. And that will be the end of this video. This is JRDN MML, out.